Here we are. Welcome. Yes. So we were talking about earlier was we were talking about where is it? The Incredible Machine. And this game was really a lot of fun, and you really had to think because it was a whole bunch of just like puzzles and stuff. Let me see if I can pull the. Let's see if this is it. Is it? No, that's the fan controller, but we can use that one. Okay. So this was what the Incredible Machine looked like. Let me take the logo down. Sorry. So this is what the Incredible Machine looked like. It was a whole bunch of just like these puzzles where you had objects and you had to build contraptions to do things like pop balloons or just all kinds of different things. And it was a really really fun game. I guess, yeah. But he is saying that they remade it. I guess this is the remake here, but I don't know. I never saw a remake, so. But it was kind of cool because you had to put a bunch of stuff together. So if we looked at this from the standpoint of puzzles in our game, um, the devs for it made a newer one on Steam called Contraption Maker. Okay, wow, did not know that. But yeah, they were a lot of fun. I really enjoyed these. But if we think about how the puzzles were put together and stuff like that, we can build those kind of puzzles into our, mostly I think it would be mostly in the mines or some places in the town, things like that, but more steampunky, where he has to, like, I don't know, light a fire under a bottle of water, which causes steam, which causes something to move. We can do a bunch of things like this, when we're doing game design, is start thinking about what puzzles we have and where they should be. I guess this was the remake. I don't know. Oh, sorry. This is kind of 3D ish. Oh, cool. No, let's look up the word. I found a link. Flash version of the Incredible Machine that works. Oh, wow, cool. Great game. There's a Contraption Maker. Let's see if we can find some pictures of Contraption Maker. Was it Sierra? That means at one point we owned them. Oh yeah, Contraption Maker, definitely. Same kind of thing. Where you're building contraptions that do things. So if we take the same kind of theory into mind, but not as spread out as this, but as we're putting our puzzles together, we'll think about what we can do to where he has to build things to get a puzzle to work, not just solve a puzzle. That could be kind of interesting. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with that. Okay, where is it? Is it this one? Nope. I believe it's this one. Yes. Okay. Crazy Machine is similar to, yeah. I found a link. When addressing me, okay. Oh, that's funny. Yeah, if they worked at Sierra, a good old Sierra, Sierra was actually purchased by Vivendi and Blizzard at the same time, around the same time. Actually, they purchased Sierra and Seagrams at the same time, and then us shortly before that, or yeah, around all the same time. Wow, we have ads coming already. Wow. Okay, let me delete this. Okay, everything else on the list is for after the show. Let me pull. Game up. And we also need the game designs page up. Okay. Okay, let's get this. That should work. It did not. Oh, I'm on the wrong one. This one. Ish. That's better. See if we can get the last couple of these down. Just waiting for 22 more seconds. Okay. Ba-ba-ba-ba. Let me pull this back. Now let's go to that window. I think this is the right one. Let us find out. Should be. Oh, there it is. Okay. Thought we'd lost it there for a second. Okay, so things that we were talking about on Friday's show. Let's go ahead and pull. So many things to do here. What we're going to be doing is. Oh. Nope, 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 nope. I don't think we need one of those. I think we can just do without it. LB215, thank you very much for the sub. It's a tier 1 sub for 4 months. Thank you very much. That is awesome. Welcome. Okay, we're going to put a little thing here. We're just going to type in it. So the things that we talked about last week was keeping the Viking theme, because we were trying to think about, we were talking about what the world can be. It's way too big, but we'll zoom in. So we talked about being Viking steampunk. Punk. We also talked about the world, and if they were removed before the Saxon. I can't spell for shit, so. Before they went to attack the Saxons. Mm-hmm. Mm. I'm doing well, LB. I'm doing very well. Thank you very much. So, just a group of them were. It was before the Saxons, which yes, I've spelled it wrong. I don't know how to spell it, so they can do another dimension and then start it over. They gained Steam Tech, and made everything from it. And then I think that if we think about what the mine should be, because originally we had coal, but if they went to another dimension, would that dimension have coal, or would it be another kind of mineral? So we have to think about what kind of minerals the mine produces. Because it has to be something that is needed for everything. Because the mine has to basically be for everything. See, now that word's bothering me. Okay. I was close. No, I wasn't, but that's okay. Removed before the Saxon times. So before they came to the island of Saxon. No, I'm kidding. Sorry. That was stupid. Against Steam Tech, made everything from it. Mine produces, I think it could still technically produce coal. I think coal is still an option. Coal, metals. Because if we're using the tech, there's two different. That's right. There's two different techs. Okay. Tech one. And then we can go. Where is my mouse? Oh, there it is. Okay, so then we have forest tech, which can be rivers, trees, animals. Utilizing those kind of things to create energy and do things, but in still keeping with the steampunk kind of thing, because they can still use steam They just go about making it differently. Because maybe over in their area in the forest, there's also geysers. Hmm. Darwin ore. Okay, I've never heard of Darwin ore. Dwarf Forest Wiki is a good understanding of mine minerals in the context. Okay. Let's see, where is. Oh, that's the Skyrim thing? Okay, let's look at the other thing. Let's look at. Mhm. Yeah, we can look at some of this kind of stuff. We can look at it and then be inspired by it to come up with something else. Because I don't want to just. I'm not going to just rip off other people's tech. It's just not. I'm just not going to do it. We're going to do our best to come to. We will look at it. We will be inspired by it, and we will come up with something else. But yeah. Cool. Dwarven Wiki. Okay, that's something to keep an idea on. Save that as a bookmark to look at later. It's great to understand. Excuse me. So if they are from Saxon times, does that mean actually invent Saxon? Ah, no saxophones to communicate. And they left this dimension before the Vikings interacted with the Saxons. Is what we talked about on Friday. So yeah, so there were no. Even though I got your saxophone joke, haha. They would have horns for sending out alarms and stuff like that, but not necessarily saxophones. Had to step away after dad jokes. What did I miss? All of them. Nothing. We just started. We just got over the zombie, and we're just talking about stuff that we talked about on Friday. I didn't realize it wasn't on the screen. Sorry about that, guys. Yeah. So looking at, you basically have two kinds of technology. We have the guys that are like not the guys in town, which are very much uh, Uncle and all of his people doing the we're bitching. We have mining products, so they have metals, full metals, engines. I think that would be G. Geysers. I think that's spelled right. So it looks like quizzers. I think it's geysers. Okay, whatever. We know what they are. So because if they still run on Steam as well, and there are geysers in the area of the forest that they moved to, then the grandfather's people would probably utilize those geysers as a way to create energy to make steam to make things work. Tech 1 and Tech 2 look like they are gonna be stone giants versus tree giants. Okay, I'll have to look that up. Yep, maybe. No, we're not going so far as that they have cars or anything like that. Well, steam horns will have to suffice then. Yeah. Because they can be used for all kinds of announcements and things like that, which I think is a good idea. I think both groups would have them. So I'm trying to think of how to justify the division between them. And would it be a complete division, or would there be people that go back and forth? So if we then, here is, okay. So that's the mine, that's tech one. You go. That's the thing is so if we make all the puzzles based on mechanical structures, which means he has to build pieces or find pieces, which also works with the ideas for the family crypt. Is okay. Either work. You can be at the beginning of a division where people are having discourse how to proceed. Build pieces. We're going to have a few years after the division where they're not December camps. See, that's just it. Is the division? Well, Vikings are kind of that way. So any division probably would have been done with a battle, without a doubt. You can also find drawings that will help you put things together if you have all the pieces. But these were the kind of things that we were talking about last week. And I did. Oh wow. Okay. Yeah, politically based or family based feud. Because like I think that yeah, I think the family ones last longer than the political ones. Well, one thing, Sparta, is what we can do is this: is what if we do say it's after the divide, it could be shortly after the divide, where the townspeople are still talking about it. You know, if the townspeople are still talking about it, then our player character, even though should have common knowledge, can also be in conversations with people who are still talking about the battle that took place. You know, we can also do a situation where, in order to go into town, he would have to change his clothes or something like that to be able to fit in, or, you know, yeah, well, most everything's still fueled by family based drama. Let's go down here and go A. Just after the battle settled. When I say player must dress the part to go into town, is he may have to wear a disguise or something, and able to even go into town because his while he's looking for his grandfather. Here's what I'm typing down here. Sorry. So if it starts just after the battle was settled, the battle settled the division. I mean, it could just be a situation where the people just get to a point to where they either make a choice or they don't. Yeah, I think we can work that out in the storyline later. You can always find out We can always find a reason for humans to argue with each other. It's actually quite easy. Hmm. Each fighting for power. Yes, that's what Game of Thrones shows too. But it's always been that way. It's like that's why you also they were kings would marry their daughters into other kingdoms so that they could build alliances and stuff like that. Huh? Just shat my pants. Laugh out loud. That sound was not expected. Oh, from the yeah. Goes on a fishing ship with boat. Was never supposed to take the boat. Comes back, notices smoke on the horizon. Goes towards the smoke, finding the town destroyed. Talks to the people trying to salvage the debris. Gets the story. Goodbye, Selby. Thank you. Um, yeah, I mean that's the way, but would he? The question I would have then, Sparta, is wouldn't he have known that there was a battle coming? You know, battles don't just happen out of thin air, especially if you're Viking style. They're I mean, unless it started as a bar fight. I'm sure there's been quite a few wars started just because of a bar fight. Hmm. No, I don't think it's what kind of parents do it. Sorry, but rednecks do. You know, family feuds go on forever and ever and ever, and each successive generation from literally birth are brought into we hate those people and that's that. You know, that one smacked daddy's horse 20 or great granddad's horse 20 years ago, and then daddy shot his pig, and now we're fighting forever. Yeah, we have one caused by an expensive rug. So that's that. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we're talking about I'm pretty sure based on everything I read about the Vikings, everybody in the family was involved in everything. It doesn't sound like they kept the kids like, "Oh my god, let's protect the kids." I don't think that was even a thought in the Viking world. I think it was like the kids were unfortunately or fortunately were just another man with a sword that needed to be out there helping. Alternatively, he could be too young. Maybe that's just it. Is his grandfather because of the way his grandfather raised him, which probably wasn't. You know, we can add that too. Is the people in town and the people of the mine back end jazz. Thank you very much for the follow. I appreciate it. Yeah, well, our kid is 10. Our main character is 10. I don't know all Viking lore, so that's stuff I would have to look up. But if I go by what you're saying, then it's the perfect time where he has to. But what if we did that where okay, so if we go back to our two factions, the mining faction, and we'll use tech as the base for them. So if we go to the mining faction and we say that they're the old Viking ways, right? And then the forest ones are, and I'm using evolved just as a word, not as a they're better than or anything else. It's just evolved Viking ways, meaning that they want to, they think there's more to it than just pillaging and doing all that stuff. That way we can say that the grandfather raised the boy in this new, oh wait, let me change. Evolve just is now bugging me. We'll just go enlightened. Does that make more sense? You could spell it right, probably. New yearlings, yes. Welcome, our new yearlings. I forgot to bring up the event log so that, or the event feed. Oh, we have a couple followers. We have Triple X Ghost, or Triple X Go is a new follower. Thank you very much. Tenga Sama is a new follower. Tarkin Nord is a new follower. Fractal Ken is a new follower. Huh. Those are all the ones that have come up. So cool. They will follow us. Looks like these haven't come up since yesterday. It's probably because I had the feed down, but we'll get it. Yeah, so there'll be since our kid is starting out as a 10-year-old, it could be it can be a rite of patches. But the idea that you have Sparta of him being like, because we had put him out in the faraway town where he was coming back from picking up whatever it was his grandfather sent him to go get. So maybe his grandfather went to fight the battle in town and never came back. While he was gone, the battle broke out. More something like that, because we already have him being away and coming back and finding granddad gone. Then we can do something like the clinic is full of the wounded. Clinic is full of wounded. It also gives us a lot more opportunities to give him tasks. Main reason I'm suggesting the vote is to keep your it coherent to your previous idea. Also, Granddad doesn't need to fight. He would be like a medic at the Hacksaw Ridge. Yeah. Well, he could be a medic, but he could also be a leader of his people. So I think we shouldn't limit the Granddad to just the medical thing. I think he did the medical thing as a way to show that there's a better way to do things, you know, as opposed to the way the Viking first aid. Hacksaw Ridge was a really good movie. That is true. Clinic. So the people are bringing wounded to the clinic. Um, but I mean, do we want our main character in the battle? Is the question. Because we had talked about at one point long ago, and I don't know if we've gone up on this any, but we talked about him running into bandits on his way back. But would it be better for him to run into a small faction of his his were friends from town who are now in battle against his side of the community? Well, see, that's just it. Is would they be deserters or renegades, or would they just be like a group of kids his age that have not run from the battle, but tried to take the battle into the forest area? You know, because based on the culture that we're talking about, I don't think they had a lot of deserters or renegades. I'll put it in here, but because what we can say is it could be people his age that have gone to the forest, maybe people that he actually had known in school. Or renegades, I mean, people who saw the broken out battle as an opportunity to profit. Yeah, go into the empty part of the town and just start robbing. Yeah. People are taking advantage of the mayhem. So Yeah, because if he comes across too humid and Blaze has a point, is that if he comes across a humid, because we had talked about a system before as to whether he's good or bad, you know, how it affects how people interact with him and things like that. So this could be one of the points where he comes across. Maybe we do both, where he does come across like people who went to school with it are now attacking him or trying to get him, and he has to fight them a little bit. And then he comes across someone who's wounded and has the choice of helping them or not. Well, he's raised by his grandfather, who is more of the more enlightened Viking side than the traditional Viking side. No. His first choice: rob the bleeding dude, or bandage him and help him. Yeah, yeah, pretty much. Seven deadly sins. Welcome very much to the followers of Odin. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Yeah, you're absolutely right. What are the choices? Because we do have to start working on, well, since we're getting to story points and stuff like that, is let me change this line here from what I wrote to what you wrote. So, first choice: rob the bleeding dude or bandage him and to help him to the clinic. Yeah. Well, technically, we haven't introduced Steve yet. So, in this particular area, because what we've talked about is if we're talking about the very beginning of the thing, is we can make it Steve. Hmm. I can see some positives in that, but we will see. I'm going to put a question mark on there as to whether this is Steve or not, because it could be Steve or it could be Steve's brother or a relative of Steve. Yeah, Blaze. That's basically what we were talking about with Steve. Is Steve has will be his go-to whenever he gets stuck and things like that. Um, we don't know if it's a viable idea yet, as it has not been. Yeah, we're just basically throwing ideas out. But yes, if we do make it Steve, there are some good possibilities there, and we have a bunch of Steve stuff over here. I believe. Sorry, I'm in the. Whoa! I just screwed up text. Funny. All right, back over here. Let's see where. What do we do with the Steve stuff here? Did I even put Steve up here? I may not have. No, I didn't. I didn't put unless I used his old name. Okay, where you at, silly boy? That's the Gravedigger. Exploit. That full task. That full task. Thank you very much for the follow. Bartender. Fiddlemaker. How could I forget Steve? Grumpy cook, hotel, maid, nurse, sheriff, stable boy. How insulting. Steve. So we can say, because this is basically for Blaze, if you weren't here before, this is basically our list of quest lines for each person in the town. But I'm apparently still on the same page as everyone after missing a few weeks. No, you're fine. Sorry, Blaze. It. No, you're fine. But yeah, wounded. Okay. So if we go with Steve, then Steve will, after he gets out of the clinic, he can go to the main part of town, and that's where the clockwork will be, where the fountain will be. And he can send him on the quest to fix the clockwork, the town clockwork. It'll be like a level 2. I'm just calling the clockwork just just so we have a name in there. Sorry, I keep forgetting to check to make sure it's on the. And I haven't. We're not gonna finalize what levels these are right now. We're just throwing things in there. But he could fix the clockwork. He could be. Okay, is that even typing? No, it is not. Why is it not typing? Okay. No, it is typing. It's just not a color that can be seen. Nope, not that one. Because he can be advisor because he saved him. Our kid saved him when he was wounded, got him to the town or got him to the clinic, and then no, it's not that. I Blaze, just so you know, and I've made it very clear, I cannot spell. I did not learn to read and write till I was 10 years old, 9 and 10 years old. So it's I'm not good at spelling. I can get my point across, but I can't spell every word. So Steve being the one that originally installed the clockwork before his descent into madness, yes, that actually works out very well. And being only one who can fix it might be the character art. He might be so if we say I think I just did that. Let's go back here. If we say so he can send us to get parts and materials so that he can fix the clock. Yeah, what this is here is these are all of our NPCs in the game. And then we have our character has 10 levels of growth. So as part of his 10 levels of growth, we were talking about what each of the NPCs would do for him or with him, so to speak. So it would give
Nice.
us an opportunity to keep track of all of their all the quests that they create for him and move things forward. Yeah, I see such a variety in stream and awesome. So you're developing script. Right now we're developing outlines. We're not actually writing the scripts yet. We're saying what they're going to ask him to do. We're not actually writing the scripts yet. We're just saying, okay, here's things. Now, what this does is it opens up a whole new avenue of, because of now our town, instead of being pristine like it is, we'd have to make a bunch of damage stuff that he could help to gain the trust of the townspeople. He could do things like help rebuild shops and things like that. So if we go to Game Maker, so if as he goes into town here, yeah, let's see. Sorry, come on. I clicked on you. Work. Okay, thank you. So as he goes into town, the can like this is the candle shop. So maybe the candle shop is like been burned down or something, and then he has to go and chop some trees to help build, to help replenish the work that needs to be done to fix the buildings and stuff like that. The whole community can come together to rebuild the church, or the temple, whichever it is. We haven't named it yet. So, you know, but not we don't have to destroy every building. We just have to have enough of them be damaged that he needs to help them fix them. Because, yeah, it also means that with Grandpa's little part of the forest over here, let's see if I can find it. We could put some more houses in areas here, so it's the people that live in the forest and live Grandpa's way, as opposed to. We can also add a couple in these sections here, so that it's more of a community, a smaller community, but a community of people that are there. And then we can extend that out to the more outer parts into the forest and stuff like that, to where there is a division by forest between the two towns, but we don't have to build one as big for Grandpa's side. Because that may be, we can build a much bigger city area in the expansion for Grandpa's side than for the original. You could have the townsfolk initially scattered across the whole island, yes, in a few small camps that need protection, different resources to survive. Yeah, and you could help them back to town. You can help them make it back to town and get back into their original places. You know, because though Steve wants the clockwork working again, you can also do things like, oh, if say on your way, say when we go up to our ancestors' crypt, on the way there we meet the candle maker and his family hiding in the forest by the crypt. And we say, okay, we're going to help you put the candle shop. We're going to rebuild your business. We're going to go find all your bees and bring your bees in so you can get beeswax and all that stuff. We can do those kind of things where he helps rebuild the town. That also is a good thing for making the town more receptive to him, because he is helping, than maybe the people from the mine are not. Does that make sense? I do like the idea of the townsfolk being scattered because of the battle that went on in town. I'm just going to take that as a note over here. Because that's all we're putting together anyway. Doop-a-doop-a-doop-a-doo. Yeah. Sparta, I actually copied your comment and pasted it into the notes section. Let me, if you see down there at the bottom of the screen. Hmm. Be a verbiage. I meant scripts like phrases. Yeah, no worries. It also gives us more opportunities to get his balance more on the positive side than the negative side. Of course, if he ends up, say he makes the choice of not helping Steve and Steve dies, then that should set a chain reaction to where he will lose the game because Steve's not there to help him, and then the people of the Steve's not there to say he saved my life, trust him type thing. Not only could they be scattered, they could even have a mission where a few of them were captured during the battle. Oh, thank you very much for the 25 cheers. That's awesome. Thank you. In let's see. In resting specimen. In a resting specimen. Thank you very much for the 25 cheers. Not only could they be scattered, they could also have a mission if you them are captured. Yeah, you have to go save Grandpa type thing. Because you can. He's also looking for his grandfather at the same time. So if he doesn't know where his grandfather is, because before it was someone came and took his grandfather, maybe his grandfather got lost in battle, or things like that. Well, I mean, we could bring Steve up to the fountain. Huh. Yeah, maybe when he gets the fountain, when he's in the crypt and he gets the fountain working, maybe Steve can come there and appear there to him sometimes. Because I think the only place he should be able to speak to spirits is at the fountain where the crypt is. I don't think speaking to spirits anywhere else would be a good idea. Let me put that up here. Let me move that out of the way so you can see what I'm doing here. Basically, I just put that up here where you're talking about. We talk about Steve, where he finds a way to speak to Steve, spirit to go to the information. Yeah. So if we say the only place that he could speak to spirits is at the family crypt, then we can work it out there to where that's where he does that. No, I don't think spirits are. I don't think the spirit is out of question. But if we probably would definitely, since Steve was a genius before his time, as we've talked about, and everybody just thinks he's a crazy guy. Him having a notebook is completely 100% within range. We can even say that he picked up the journal at the time where Steve died. And it can have all the schematics and stuff like that for the different, well, technically, because we had talked about having a journal for the character. Maybe let's see, maybe he starts writing in the journal, in Steve's journal, after Steve is gone. But I also want to say, before he can read it, he needs to learn how to interpret it. Yeah, he needs to translate it to understand it. That's an interesting theory, Blaze. I can see where that can. I think that can be a portion of it. Interesting, but would we make that as a end all be all? So I think just from the nature of the game, we would have to come. There would have to come a time when he separates out from any factions that he has joined. As you can see, I'm adding your stuff to this so that we have it. So you've got a hidden well of knowledge buried in the cavern somewhere. There's a dusty old notebook. Yeah, something like that can work. That way it's not on him when he dies because he protects it. Back up to Steve up here. Yeah. But I think that we'd still have to figure out how to interpret it. Because that's going to be a tricky part. I don't think it should be written in a common language. I think Steve wrote it in a language of his own making, where the ability to translate it is in a separate place from where the book itself is. Carter C4, welcome. Huh? Well, we have a well, so to speak. We have a fountain in the family crypt that helps him talk to his ancestors. How does one decipher the scribblings of a madman? With oh, what was that? What was the other bot? One message has been deleted by a moderator. Bam! Savvy is on it. Savvy committed a bot strike. Boom! Down. See, my question is maybe I just missed it when before I had mods, but how do you know they're bots? I'm assuming you do, but I'm assuming there's a way to know if it's a bot or not, but yeah. Oh, Carter. Okay. Because they just say hi like they do on my phone, where I get a text that just goes hi from a number I don't know. Oh, I didn't know what it said. I just saw, I think all I saw was it say hi. And I said, well, hi. I didn't read anything past that. You must become a madman to understand the madness. Maybe. But maybe when we're in the crypt and we're talking to the fountain who talks to spirits, maybe it can draw Steve's spirit to us to help us interpret the book, but we'll see. Oh wow, I didn't even know that. I guess I missed the anything that said view bots or followers, etc., or crypto. I didn't see any of that. So nicely done. Apparently, you're not. Yes, it creates a good idea for mini games. So, because if we have Steve not just if he only interprets a piece at a time type thing, and it's based in because you have to learn to use it. It can be where he gets most of his different skill sets. He gets something from his ancestor that he helps build their tomb, but he also gets the ancestors in the fountain help him talk to Steve because the ancestors help interpret Steve because Steve is crazy. Yep, yep, yep. Sneeze. Damn chili made me sneeze so hard. It made the cat of the window from across the street jump. Funny. So now I have to ask, is it because is a cold sneeze? Or were you eating chili and it was so spicy it made you sneeze? See, I'm looking at both angles here. Because I have had walked out in the cold and sneezed drastically. Make my chili so spicy it says that it makes the devil on fire. There's this stuff called devil's blood or Satan's blood, I think. And it's on the bottle. I got it in Sedona, Arizona, and it's supposed to be like I think it was 800,000 or a million servo or whatever savo. But it said for a full pot of chili, you only use 4 drops. Ugh. Not sure it was to cause. We don't need to know what caused Steve to go mad because Steve is like he's like Loki. He's just out there. Let me see if I can find this stuff. It is a hot sauce that is just it's called Satan's Blood hot sauce. I remember it because when I was in Sedona, Arizona, I bought some because I thought the bottle itself was kind of cool, and I gave it to Samwise for his chili because he used to make a lot of chilies and things like that. I'll put a link to it up in Discord. Or maybe I won't. Let's see what this is doing. Depending on what this is doing. Okay, no, I'm not signed in. Okay. Yep, we can grab that. I'll put it in the food section of Discord. But this stuff is way out there. It is 800,000 Scoville units. And on the bottle, I seem to remember, or on the little paper that comes with it, it says for a full pot of chili, you only use 4 drops. It can be quite terrifying. I can't argue that. Because we had a roommate, and God, I'm trying to remember if I still have the video. But we made a video of him putting 2 drops on a cracker and eating it. I thought we almost killed him. We didn't. He survived, but it was very funny. But there's always people that are go, oh, I can eat that. That's no problem. But yeah, it's 800,000 Scoville, and it will burn your skin if you get it on your skin. That's why you need some good bacteria down in that gut to help you. Too funny. But maybe there was some herb he's been eating for years or stranger things temporarily. But Steve ate so many of them he affected. Well, it's just like there's a very famous book. I'm trying to remember the name of it. There's a famous book that was written. I'm trying to find it here. Oh, here it is. Oh, wow, that was quick. Because when you said that place, I was thinking about different things that were untranslatable, and there was this one thing. Let me pull the window up here. It's called the Volnik manuscript. Voynich. Let me see if I can get it on screen here. It's this thing here. Turn everything off in front. The Voynich manuscript. Nobody's ever been able to translate it. It was from the 15th century, 1404 to 1438. And it looks like they think that it's let's see. Yeah, they think that it was, they're not sure who wrote it, but it was during the Italian Renaissance, but they found this book and it had many, many pages. And it seems to be a description of plants and people in the area, but they can't translate it. Nobody's ever been able to translate it. I find it very interesting that nobody's been able to translate it. But here's the letters as best they can figure. But they don't know. They don't know if it's right or not. And it's called the Voynich manuscript. Magic mushrooms are a thing. Yes, they are. Nothing like poisoning yourself. Hmm? Yeah, go ahead. I think they've tried, and I don't think it was able to either. But it's not like it's a tiny little like 2 or 3 pages. There's a lot of pages. Trying to see how many pages it is. Yeah, it says unknown, possibly an invented script. And they have no idea where it came from. So, yeah, cool. Oh, yeah. I found it fascinating. I always think it's interesting because when you were talking about blazes, maybe that it's just a made up language. It could be. And we may need Steve to be able to interpret it anyway, or we won't be able to. Highly possible. Okay, let's see what you got up here. Yeah, it could be evolving based on what you're saying, Blaze. If he, the more and more he got away from reality, the language that he wrote in could be evolving into something completely different than what it started out as. Well, you should try it out, Sparta. If you like hot stuff, that was pretty hot. I remember, like I said, my one of our roommates at one point thought he would put it on a cracker, put a couple drops on a cracker, and just eat it. And yeah, the convulsions and watering of the eyes and yakking from it was actually quite hilarious. But that's a whole nother thing. Mm. Gonna need to find it somewhere. Yeah, that one was on Amazon, so they might have it in Amazon. Plant first and LSD is just poppies. That's what LSD is made from. Is from poppies. Gives a whole new meaning to the Wizard of Oz and poppies, poppies. It's a bit less spicy than a ghost pepper. Yeah. Mm. So I'm catching up on what you guys are writing. Well, the thing with ChatGPT and all that is you have to know how to ask the question to get the answer you're looking for. There was a really good video out a while back on how to get ChatGPT to write your inquiry for you by it asking you questions and stuff. It was actually really good, and I used it to write some really good inquiries that it was able to answer pretty well. I love old text and maps. I have not validated this yet, but I saw a little snippet of info the other day about world maps and how until 1818 they didn't have Antarctica on them, as no current day explorers had encountered it yet. But after they did, they looked at older maps which had a very similar continent in the same location much earlier, indicating that they had the maritime technologies capable of mapping it would much earlier, honestly. Well, wow, that's really cool, actually. I had half a bottle of Hofstos to it. Well, Hera, my girlfriend, we're going to call her Hera. She is big on spicy things. I'm kind of mild on spicy things. The only question then is that language he completely made up or old, or did he Stumble upon a higher plane of existence. Well, we have not factored in anything in regards to what the new dimension brought them into. So it could be that he's his brain is, even to make him the genius that he is, it could be that his brain is tied into something on the new dimension that nobody else is. So the language of gods. If we do a so we can ask the question is, how does the dimension affect the people? How does the dimension affect the population? Yeah, I mean, all that kind of works because he could be completely lucid, just affected by the dimension that they now live in. So let's target the four most advanced species. Use the periodic table as a basis for the common alphabet. So, oh, that's the one where they found what's her name's boyfriend. Yeah. Is it the same across the entire universe? So, because remember they found, it's the one where they went and found her boyfriend who disappeared in the 30s, and then there was a basically a Rosetta Stone room where all the languages were on the wall, and then it would build the periodic tables in the middle to pull the languages together. Yeah, it's something like that. Interesting. I mean, it doesn't hurt to put some educational stuff in there, you know. And they found out one of the four advanced races were Ewoks. That's funny. Yeah. Ewok in here. If Christopher Walken was a Ewok, he'd be Ewok in here. I told you. Learning in a video game. I've been tricked, hoodwinked. No, there is no reason not to put subtle educational touch points within a video game. I actually am all for that. You know, but I'm not for beating you over the head with it. In all honesty, it's like there comes a point where it's too much. And I'll use a movie as an example. There's a lot of good movies out there that touch on different aspects of, let's say, kindness to others, interracial kindness, all that kind of stuff. But one of them that did a really, really bad job was Disney's Pocahontas. That one it just beat you over the head every minute of every frame that we all should live together and be happy and blah blah blah. And it was just not good for me. I just did not like the movie. I like things that are a little bit more subtle that I actually have to think through to get there, as opposed to just being, like I said, having it beat over my head constantly. Let me come to the realization. Don't just keep throwing it at me. I'm trying to remember the name of the guy that they did. I put it on the middle ground. We can say that he was trying to communicate with elder gods by using the periodic table, which in turn brought him to a layer of insanity where he needs to really focus himself to come back to Earth. Hmm. Blaze, it's okay to learn something new. It's all right. You'll be okay. Yeah, I like the periodic table thing, but especially since from the point in time where we're pulling the Vikings out of this dimension into the other dimension, they wouldn't have known what that is. It would have all been magic. You know, it's just like, that's a gray rock, that's a brown rock. I can make that rock into a weapon. That rock I can't unless I just hit you with it. But we can use it. Even if we do something simple like, say we're in the mine, is when the miners pull different elements out of the mine, we can say that they mark it with a symbol, and that symbol can be the symbol of the periodic table, so that when you pick up a rock, you'll know what it is based on the symbol that it is, and it can be the periodic table as the symbol. Oh no, I'm not. I'm not. I'm joking as well. Oh, I'm not. I'm not chastising him. I'm just having fun. Because the mind doesn't have to just be one element. It can bring, because it's another dimension. We can justify any element being in that mind. But we can say that in when they dig it up, they have to separate it into the different elements. And we don't even have to be subtle about it. We can just say, okay, the marking on that mine cart is for this kind of this rock here, and that rock can be whatever element it is that's on the side of the sidecar, or side of the mine cart. Yes, any significant advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. Could, yes, you are correct. Could make it all seem like magic on the surface, but it turns out it's just throwing elements together the whole time. Yeah. Yeah, because that could be how they make fire. That could be how, there's a lot of different things that you can do and learn something at the same time. Yeah, make their own spells, make their own objects, that kind of stuff. Yeah, absolutely. Yep. Okay, where are we at? Oh, well, we have about 15 minutes. Okay. We're all nerds here. True. But yeah, those kind of things are actually good things. So if we say, okay, where are we at here? Let me grab some things here that we talked about up here. Because we can say here, let's bring this up. I'm a make this smaller. Yeah, so we can say that it's periodical table based tech or magics. Only when it comes to Supernatural. Funny. Yeah, Supernatural is definitely a geek show. I do have all 15 seasons. I think they were talking about doing another one, but I don't know if that actually is going to happen or not. I just like the whole idea of the scribe. When they did the supernatural convention thing, that was pretty funny. You know, because the scribe of God was writing like the Hardy Boys type books with Sam and Dean. That just cracked me up. And the fact that they used Booger from Revenge of the Nerds was even funnier. Are they in the boys now? I did not even know that. I have not watched the boys in like I think I watched the first season or first season and a half. Then I went to the UK and didn't watch it again. Hmm. Yeah, they had a lot of cool stuff on their show. I thought so. I watched well. Yeah. Oh, been a long day already. It was the Descent ending. You should check it out for the sake of closure. Hmm. Okay, so here's all of our notes, basic notes from today. Woohoo! Ads coming already? Really? Oh well, you gotta pay the bills, so. Okay. Checking, checking, checking. That's all good. Get a little bit ahead of ourselves by fixing this real quick. March is almost over. Yeah, Sparta, if you can find it, you should pick up some of the Devil's Blood stuff. It's definitely up there. I googled it just to be sure my brother didn't lie. Michelle Collins and Jared are cast to be season 5 of The Boys. Okay, cool. Yeah, the trick is the trick to steampunk Vikings Blaze is this is can we do it and make it, for lack of a better way to do it, can we do it and make it believable? That to me is a tricky part. Because I know that there's been a lot of steampunk attempts to cross over with different things, but I think Vikings it can work. It's the art is going to make or break it. You know, the thing about Vikings, you never know, or sorry, about zombies, you never know what they want. They just have so much trouble getting you to understand what they want. I will be back momentarily.
Brains.
Okay, what? Up. So, what did the flying dinosaurs come from? Okay, so way back I think when we started doing dad jokes, one of the jokes had the answer. The basic answer was the p something about it was something about pterodactyls, and then it was the answer was the p is silent. You know, and early on in the stream, I forgot to turn off my mic and went into the bathroom and peed, and everybody heard me peeing. So now, whenever I have to do a bio break, I put the pterodactyls in so that it reminds me to turn the microphone off so that the P is silent. That is where that comes from. The thing is you have to pay attention to what you're doing on stream, and then roll with it. So we came up with the P is silent, and so now I just put pterodactyls up, and every one of my screens has it, and I can just pop them up, and they just go across the screen. But it reminds me to turn my microphone off so that you guys can't hear me peeing. So, yay! Hmm. And it's silly. It made me laugh. I put it together and it made me laugh. So that was another reason why we did it. We do a lot of those kind of things. That just because things happen on the stream, and we just roll with them. Can the same button that pops that up not also mute the microphone? Well, technically yes, but I have to be able to hit a hotkey to do either one, so it can be set up. And of course, it would have to be Control P. So, yes, that would be the hotkey for it. Would be Control P, because that works on so many dad levels. Yes. See, what I'm eating is fake Reese's cups. Basically, by mixing M&Ms and Reese's Pieces, you get fake Reese's cups. Hmm. Well, I'm glad you guys got the humor in it. But to answer your, I hope I answered your question, Kryson. I hope it made sense to you. Yeah, so we have a couple things like that. What are some of the other ones, guys? Hmm. Yeah, I didn't even come up with the whole all fathers thing. You guys did, so I'm just like kind of rolled with that. So like all of our graphics do include that. The only thing that even our logo was put together by a friend of mine who gave me a T-shirt at Christmas, um, which is this guy here, which I just thought was cool. He gave me a T-shirt with that on it, and then sent me the artwork, and so we've been using it as our logo, our trademark, and that's just fun to do. I'm trying to think of any other silly things that we do that come up. Oh, because we have the zombie, which is basically a picture of me that was painted by Gerald Brom, which is back here, back behind me here on the wall. It's an actual oil painting, so that became our zombie. Oh yeah, because you are right. Because my son is Thor. They started calling me Odin, and then that led to all this silliness. But the silliness has been fun. So that led to the zombie. So the zombie is actually me as a zombie, even though people think it's Thor. It's not. It's me because Thor looks like me because I came first. Therefore, he looks like me. I don't look like him. Ha. Hmm. So yeah, so that's where the All Father stuff all came from. But yeah, it's just silliness, and it gives us all a touch point to connect with. And unbeknownst to popular belief, yes, Thor is his real middle name. We did really name he and his mom did, and his mom and I, did really name him that. That's because he was born in the middle of a freak thunderstorm. In the real world, that's true. In Twitchland, Thor comes first, I think. I am holding back a dad joke. It popped in my head. If the Allfather didn't come first, Thor wouldn't be here. That's all I'm saying. I laugh when you joke that the yearlings can all be your children, but it means Thor and Loki has to be split their inheritance because that's how that works. No, I said no, only Thor and Loki get inheritance. Thank you, Devil King, for getting that joke. I appreciate it. Technically, as a reverse Odin, he was gifted sight and became responsible for representing the vision of Blizzard through the cinematics. Hmm. Interesting. Mm-hmm. Too funny. Alrighty then. Where are we at? I think that yeah, we're at the 3:30 mark. I was trying to find a way to say that without sounding too crude. I didn't want Savvy to ban me. I'm laughing you jokes that you're gonna be okay. Nope. If that were true, each of you would only get like $1. think it's Thor. It's not. It's me because Thor looks like me because I came first. Therefore, he looks like me. I don't look like him. Ha! Hmm. So yeah, so that's where the All Father stuff all came from. But yeah, it's just silliness, and it gives us all a touch point to connect with. And unbeknownst to popular belief, yes, Thor is his real middle name. We did really he and his mom did, his mom and I, did really name him that. That's because he was born in the middle of a freak thunderstorm. In the real world, that's true. In Twitchland, Thor comes first, I think. I am holding back a dad joke. It popped in my head. If the Allfather didn't come first, Thor wouldn't be here. That's all I'm saying. I laugh when you joke that the yearlings can all be your children, but it means Thor and Loki has to be split their inheritance because that's how that works. No, I said no, only Thor and Loki get inheritance. Thank you, Devil King, for getting that joke. I appreciate it. Technically, as a reverse Odin, he was gifted sight and became the responsible for representing the vision of Blizzard through his cinematics. Interesting. Mm-hmm. Too funny. Alrighty then, where are we at? I think that we're at the 3:30 mark. I was trying to find a way to say that without sounding too crude. I didn't want Savvy to ban me. I'm laughing you jokes that you're gonna be okay. Nope. If that were true, each of you would only get like $1.